Previously, we looked at historical exegesis, and if you recall, historical exegesis asks what is happening in the ancient world of the text. But when we talk about literary exegesis, we're talking about how the text is written, not just what it says, but how it says it. Literary exegesis asks the question, how is this story being told? What patterns, what movements, what structures are shaping the meaning? A strong preacher does not ignore this because the way the text is written is part of the message itself. Let's stay in Acts 12 where Peter is in prison. But now we're not asking about history, we're asking how Luke is telling the story. Let's observe a few key things. Number one, notice the movement of tension. Start by tracing how the tension builds in the text. Look at it. James is killed. Peter is arrested. Guards are assigned. Chains are fastened. Each line tightens the moment. First, James falls. Then Peter is taken. Then the prison fills with guards. Then chains are locked in place. Now, when you say it like this, the listeners feel the escalation. This isn't random detail. It is structured pressure. The writer is stacking the scene on purpose. Number two, pay attention to contrasts. Literary exegesis looks for contrasts. What is placed side by side? Peter is sleeping. The church is praying. Guards are watching. But God is working. While Peter sleeps in chains, the church stays awake in prayer. That's the contrast that we will preach because it reveals two worlds moving at once, earthly control and divine activity. Number three, watch for repetition. Repetition is never accidental in scripture. It signals emphasis. In Acts 12, guards are mentioned again and again. Security is repeated. Control is reinforced. 4 squads, rotating shifts, multiple layers of guards. And why repeat this? Because the writer wants you to feel the impossibility, and the repetition builds the barrier so the miracle breaks in. Number 4, follow the turning point. Every narrative has a shift. Every narrative has a turning point. That moment where everything changes. And here it is in this text. Suddenly an angel appears. Chains fall. Light fills the cell. Doors open. No warning, no build up. Just suddenly, God steps in. That word suddenly is doing the heavy lifting. And literary exegesis helps us to see this. And when you see it, you can preach it. Number 5, observe the pace. Some moments slow down and some moments speed up. Peter's imprisonment is detailed. It is slow. It is heavy. But when you look at the escape, that's quick. It's urgent, almost breathless. One moment he's chained, the next moment he's standing, then walking, then outside. The pace shifts, and that pace creates energy. Now, when you see that, you can put it together. You're not just explaining events, you're following the author's design, and that changes how you preach. So here's your question. How does literary exegesis shape application? Well, literary exegesis does not allow you to leave the structure behind. You carry it forward. You build the same movement in your preaching. You might say something like this. Some of you are living in the slow tension where everything feels locked down. Pressure is building. Options are closing. Doors are shut. But then you shift the tone and you say, but God does his best work in the suddenly moments. Now your listeners aren't just hearing about Peter, and you can even bring it a little closer. You can say, sometimes life feels impossible before it feels miraculous. Sometimes life feels like repetition, the same pressure again and again. But don't miss this. God is writing a turning point. Now the text is not just observed by your listeners, they are experiencing the text. Because literary exegesis teaches you that the meaning is not only in the words, it is in the way the story moves. And when you preach that movement, your listeners don't just understand the passage, they feel it, they follow it, they live inside of it. And that's when the text comes alive.